for Harrison's district.
I think I've got to figure it out. I just like to kill this stuff. I gotta go to D, I got 3 hearings.
Well.
Stuck around all the way to walk down here and then leave.
Over at Project Missouri.
That's disappointing.
And I love it. We had a new intern, and it was his first time recording a hearing, and he was sitting over
Go to St. Louis?
healthcare policy for like 4
Yeah,
hours.
okay.
Yeah.
While they, because it was at noon.
Yeah, that's where Abby
You know, I had to say the Cheshire.
went. Usual spot?
Sorry, please come back.
Is that where they generally stay? Sounds good.
Thank you, sir. There's no news or always about.
Are they?
This is in the center now, so she's gonna let me know if they
Yeah.
something
All right.
like that. So if you have other stuff to do in the universe, or if you're just interested,
I'm just trying to
I
get
think
your
they may be
guys'
going to that.
schedule.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think they may be going to cross tax cut. So
Well, that's the, that line plan.
Tell these kids, they love that history.
I'll stay here.
there's a lot that we need to go to.
You don't think like that.
Margarita. Dos.
So they're going shopping.
One for now, one while I'm waiting.
No, I-
Another 8 times.
I'll let you off. Tell me.
Minority, not just bad people last week.
I can't imagine that.
Every time I fell off my barge, still had to swim away. So it's been ground there for
No, I got it.
moments.
What do you think of it? I made some bad bourbon last night.
Thank you.
Our quality control.
I was gonna say, 'cause I think it was no self-control at all.
Remember when our time slot was playing?
Swim up the line.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
It's hard to get out of the food.
Looked with my
Progress Missouri. What's Progress Missouri?
Except for that band around there.
Progressive advocacy.
It was important.
Didn't vote both
Oh,
circles.
kinda like,
Or the race time.
Kind of.
just
You never,
different
you
funds.
never want to go.
Cause I remember one time that was tuition at WashU.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you went to WashU, there was like a checkoff thing, you had to check off, you had to check off not to pay. So Mulford was very heavily funded, remember Mulford?
Good run.
But they never did much money.
86. Hadn't rained since December. And yet everything, everything's irrigated.
I saw Jason yesterday at Coffee Zone.
Yeah?
Or was it, no, it was Tuesday morning.
Man, people.
Working. Doing his deal.
He's probably gonna make a big one in the Senate. That's a favorite. In mine too. Not show pictures of his son, show pictures of my dog.
I didn't even check, did he get any funding?
So we're not up till
Oh,
16.
that's right. The only state auditor.
We think it's unlikely. Probably not.
I think that's the only one on the auditor.
It's actually Bill Cheney, yeah, we're Secretary of State's out.
Okay. Oh, to go half. Split them. Wasn't there something I saw that half of it, or whatever? You know, split it. It is, well, the auditor does understand why, because one auditor quitting or whatever, resigning. One of these days, because of the, I can't remember, I could go, I know I was here, but, so then they had a special election worker at Kelly, and it's been split ever since.
Really?
I think they were all together, because of the James Antonio.
Hey man, like Paris.
But you know, it really isn't that bad.
Down there in the front.
Down with some asses here.
poor mother tried and gave up.
Turned 21 in prison.
Kevin, you're bad.
I'm trying.
So close.
I tell you what, it's small start chamber, and when I got, before you see it, it's sent to Cynthia Davis at my room.
Shut up. There are so many things with that. As soon as your head starts off.
And trash can.
We missed it half the day.
Yeah, I used to like Kevin too.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
Where would you like to sit, good sir? There you are.
All right, let's get this meeting started.
Really?
Don't you guys wish you were on this side of the
Or you can put it on the
Call the meeting to order. Brandon, call the roll.
Chairman Duggar.
Here.
Vice Chair Brown.
Here.
Representative Crawford.
Here.
Representative Engler. I'm here. Representative English. Representative Fitzwater. Representative Gassenberger.
Present and accounted for.
Representative Hinson. Representative Keeney. Representative Koenig. Representative Mayfield. Representative Mitten. Representative Nichols.
Present.
Representative Pope.
Here.
Representative Schul. Representative Smith. Representative Swearingen. Representative Wheeler.
All right, seeing that we have a quorum, the first item of business is Senate Bill 694 with Senator Mike Cunningham. Senator, welcome. And proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. I appreciate the opportunity to introduce Senate Bill 694. And as legislators for more than a decade, we've debated the value of payday loan lending in the industry and the need for regulations on the short term. The current payday loan bill was passed 2 years before I got in the House. It was made up by the Catholic Conference and other faith organizations and the industry, and they came on an agreement with the current law. And as times have changed, the bill needed to change, and at that time it seemed to be a good bill, but as we have grown and things have changed, we realized that it didn't. And then several years ago, the minority leader and myself and Senator Wasson and another went to the industry, and we had something worked out, and we went to the executive branch, and they weren't interested. So that kind of killed that opportunity. So this year, I passed out of the Senate, I think, which is a pretty good bill. Not everything everybody wants, it's a good compromise. It's the first actual bill we've had in probably 13 years. It changes the way that the business does business. So I think that's a pretty good thing. Explain to you how it works. One thing, it raises the annual fees. The number of credit loan, payday loan people, we'll call them, has decreased from 1,100 some down to 900 some, so they have decreased in recent years. This raises their fee from $300 to $500, help the Division of Finance raise a little bit of money. There's a provision in there that says they have to post language in the lobby stating the dollars that they charge for the loan. And currently, with 14-point print and all this, they have to state the annual percentage rate up there. They will keep that, plus they have to post the amount of dollars that they're charging per $100. So that would be important. Probably the most important thing the bill does, it does not allow any rollovers. Currently, the current law allows up to 6 rollovers. This bill does not allow any rollovers, and that's really a big thing. The St. Louis Post recently printed an article just within, I think, the last week. It said rollovers were the major problem, and that 4 out of every 5 loans were rolled over. And so that issue, and that comes from the Consumer Financial Protection Board. So by eliminating the rollovers, that serves a lot of, takes care of a lot of the problem and stops the cycle of debt that people get into. They borrow money to pay it back, or roll it over and then borrow money to pay it back and everything. That stops that. The law will allow only one payday loan at a time, and the consumer has to sign, the person making a loan or the borrower has to sign an affidavit that that's the only loan that he has. He does not have any other loan out there. And be required to only have one loan at a time. It does require that the lender, it says the lender shall, one time during the year cycle, allow an extended payment plan. And during this extended payment plan, they have 4 paycheck periods, so if they get paid once a month, they have 4 months, they get paid semi-monthly, they have 2 months to pay back the interest, and it spells, pay back the loan. And it spells out in that there's be no fees charged during this extended payment plan, no charges, no interest, and nothing. And that's just flat spelled out how it works. So they have 4 payments to do that. There's never a charge doing that. They can only do that one time. And the borrower cannot enter into another payday loan while he's doing the extended payment plan. The licensee shall place out in the lobby a brochure, put on all brochures, and inform people that they have the option of the extended payment plan. And again, no interest charge, no charges during that time. This is the first time that internet lenders will be licensed in Missouri and will be required to comply with state law. Lenders will have to use a consumer notice on all advertising that gets put out there. They've gotten some bad press. There's a few bad people out there that were threatening whenever they go for the debt collection, and this takes that out of there. And if they get caught doing that in any way, they have to pay a penalty of 3 times the amount of the loan back to the person making the borrowing money. The lender's got to comply with the Federal Fair Debt and Collection Practice Agency. And my original bill, in the original bill, it said that you should never be charged more than 75% of the loan back in payments. So we decided that since that could not be arrived, since you can't roll it over, just to take that out. Well, the press kind of got down on us for that and said, well, you're opening it up where you could charge $100 for a $100 loan. And that's absolutely not true, not going to happen, etc. like that. But to do that, I've submitted an amendment to the chairman that would lower that down to $35. So that would be the max right there, would be 35% of that is all that could ever be, the maximum that the agency could ever charge, or the lender could ever charge for that. And so I think we've got that squared away. During the collection process, no interest or fees may be charged on the loan. Now, they can still charge for, they can't charge a criminal charge, can't be charged for passing a bad check. If they give a check for this and then the lender goes to pass it, they cannot be charged for a bad check. But they also cannot charge any interest or fees on their loan. They can charge the collection fee. Normally at that time, they turn them over to collection agencies. Excuse me, if they haven't got it done. So that's basically the bill. I'd be glad to answer any questions about it.
All right, Senator, thank you very much. I think you've made some really great changes, and we appreciate you bringing that bill to us. Are there any questions of the senator today on 694, Representative Gatzenberger?
To inquire, please.
Proceed.
Thank you. Evening, Senator.
Good evening.
This is just for payday loans, correct?
Payday loans, $500 or less, no longer than 30, I think 30 or 31 days.
Okay, that's the max 31 days.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, I get a loan at $500 and I don't pay it back, and the interest rate, let's say just for the sake of argument, my interest during that time would be $100. So at the end of the month, I would have to pay $600 back.
Yes.
Okay. Then if I didn't pay it back, the extended time that I would get to pay it back, there would be no additional interest
No
charge?
additional interest, no charges.
What?
You have 4 paycheck periods to pay it back.
Oh, okay, so,
And the payday loan company has to put up a sign telling you they do that to make you aware of it, and they have to offer it, but it's there. Now, you can only do this one time.
okay, so it could be, if you got paid every month, it could be 4 months down the way.
Yes.
And at that point, it would be paid off. So that's $600, let's say I make the first payment of $125. Then it goes down, we're in half of it now. And then I can't pay the rest of it. Is there any interest fees at that point if I can't pay it at?
None whatsoever, and it's spelled out in the bill, thou shalt not charge. And that's one of the points that I made sure that they put it in, just, they said, no, it can't be done. I said, okay, let's put it in writing.
So this is gonna be a lot less than, say, if you bounce a check at the bank.
It's a whole lot less than bouncing a check at the bank. There's certain people out there that need these loans for medical purposes.
Fair enough.
And I've had people tell me that you can't, I've got to have some sort, the people that borrow this money, They don't have any source of credit. The banks aren't gonna loan a small amount of money under $500. They have no place else to go to get money, so if it means losing their job, if they can't get their car fixed, they've gotta go someplace to be able to get their car fixed. They've gotta be able to get medicine for their kids. If you, can't pay your electricity bill, you write a bad check, you're gonna pay a bad check fee, of probably $25 for them. Or you're gonna pay a $50 reconnect fee on the meter, and you're gonna affect your credit rating.
You'll probably have to pay the reconnect deposit as well.
I think the average is $50 on that is the industry average.
You need to come to Lake St. Louis. They're
Higher than that?
Yeah, a lot higher.
So, I honestly, don't like the loan, hope I never have to have it, but there are people that do have it. Used to be, you could go to the local garage and, fix my car, I'll come back at the end of the month and pay you, and those options are no longer there.
Okay. I like all the things you've come up with, Bill. I think it's done a good job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Representative England,
Thank you.
proceed.
I like Bill, was the harassment provision amended? The part about them coming after it and
From the original payday bill?
Yes.
From 13 years ago?
No, from this year, or was that contained in that?
It was contained in my original bill.
Okay, is it, I believe, Mr. Chairman, it's the same language that we were going to take up in the bill that I had. We had seen no reason to take that up today because
That's
it's
correct, Jim.
contained, and it's a great consumer protection
It is.
from being harassed in the middle of the night, threatened that your house is going to be taken away, threatened you're going to be put in jail and all those type of things. And so if it's the same language, I think it's a good consumer protection. I appreciate you putting that in there.
We tried to put it all in there and address everything we could. So, and I'm not aware of anything else other than lowering that total amount that it can be, that would be up to you all if you want to amend that.
All right.
Further questions of the sponsor? If not, is there anyone here who would like to testify in favor of Senate Bill 694?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Rhodes. I'll be very brief. You had a very full explanation of the bill. I'm here representing 4 major payday companies. And I just simply wanted to let you know that we've worked carefully with the sponsor. There are provisions in this bill that are going to be financially damaging to payday companies. We think it's a fair and balanced, common sense approach. We think the need for reform is long overdue. We are out of sync with the other states in the nation that offer payday products, and we need to rein it in, and we need to bring it back to a more prohibitive, a more strict regulatory scheme. And so I thank the senator. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Are there questions for the witness? Seeing none, gentlemen, thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in favor of Senate Bill 694? All right, seeing none, is there anyone here today who would like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 694? Okay, come forward, ma'am. I would remind everyone you do need to fill out a witness form.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I've been here for 5 hours waiting to talk with you all, so I appreciate it. I know you have. So I'm Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman. I'm a pastor of a church here in Jefferson City, and I represent Missouri Faith Voices. We're a part of the group that had a part in what was going on 13 years ago and 2 years ago, and we have a great interest in what's going on with payday lending. We're a statewide faith-based organization representing over 300 congregations around the state, and we're primarily concerned with issues of economic dignity. As a clergy person, I just want to share with you my experience that I spend time every day in my ministry with people who are struggling with really serious struggles. And with increasing regularity, those struggles revolve around payday loans. Folks who got a short-term loan for $300 that has now turned into an unmanageable fight to stay afloat. So within just a few months, that $300 turns into thousands owed to multiple lenders. I've seen people in this struggle lose their cars, their homes, in some cases their kids, because they couldn't keep a safe, warm environment for them. And I've seen them lose their will to live. And I believe that that last statement bears some expanding upon. I've been called to the hospital to be with a person who was ready to attempt suicide because they couldn't find a way out of the desperation that began with a $300 loan. This is unconscionable. As people of faith, we believe that it's the duty of the government to protect its people and not the so-called financial institutions that prey on them. We reject the notion that any reform that doesn't cap interest rates at a reasonable and morally acceptable amount can be called reform at all. And I appreciate the amendment that you said was offered. I'm responding to the bill as we received it. So I'm responding to the idea that the 75% cap is being taken off. I don't know if you've ever thought about what 75% over 2 weeks is. It's 1,950% over a 1 year period of time. And I've read articles that say that we shouldn't look at it as an annual percentage rate because it's only a short-term loan. But I would challenge every one of you to go out and find somebody who's stuck in the payday loan trap and find any one of them who was able to get out of it in 1 year or less. For most people, it's a multi-year process that ends in financial ruin. So I'm here today on behalf of Missouri Faith Voices, on behalf of all those congregations, and on behalf of the hundreds of thousands of people who signed a petition in 2012 to ask that we cap payday loan rates at 36%. We believe that we can't do anything and call it reform if we don't cap it at that rate, but anything beyond that is usury. So we would ask you that you don't pass this bill unless you're going to pass it with an amendment that caps those rates at a reasonable and morally acceptable rate.
So you're telling me that you don't think any part of this bill is a step forward?
I think
in
lots
any
of
type of reform?
I think lots of parts of this bill is a step forward. I think there are wonderful parts of this bill, but what we're afraid of is people believing that the payday loan industry has been reformed and that it's going to save people from the trap that they're in when it's really not, because those interest rates are, that's the other thing that does it. It's not just the rollovers, and we know that people are going to sign those affidavits that say they don't have another loan, and they're going to have 5 other loans that they had to get to pay that one loan. It's not a good situation. It's not what people should do, but it's what desperate people do, and we should be protecting people.
All right, Representative Engler.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming to testify. I've heard your group testify many times before. It's nice to recognize a problem. It's not so nice to not want to do anything about it. I've challenged your group before to come up with a loan system at a loan rate. To loan somebody $100 that can't get any credit at all, that doesn't have any visible way to pay it back, and expect them in a week to come back with $101 unsecured, which is 52% annual interest. The organization won't come up with a means to these people. If we eliminate this, all it will do is send people back to where they're getting their, have you ever seen anybody's legs broken for not payment of a loan?
No, but I've seen
That's
someone
ugly too.
commit suicide.
Yeah,
because
well,
they
it's
didn't
the same thing, because when
pay
you're in
the-
financial despair, you're gonna do crazy things.
Sure.
But when you have to go to Beto on the street and borrow money and have a gun stuck to your face and say, you pay it back or I'm gonna shoot you, it's almost the same as suicide. And what I'm saying about this senator's bill is it's a way to reform the system, and you say, don't have this rate. If it can't be rolled over, that's a superfluous rate anyway. I mean, if you can make it because the Post-Dispatch or somebody said, boy, that rate needs to go down, but if you can't roll it over, I mean, we could play games all night with this. The reality is there's a group of people that if they, and I used this example a couple weeks ago, I had a son that put a deposit at a grocery store in a bank that was in the grocery store, went and got a cup of coffee charged on his debit card, charged 2 other things that night. Of course, the bank the next day took out the large charge of $60-something, had 3 $35 costs on there for 1 day, penalties, $105 on less than $75 charged. Figure the annual percentage rate on that. It's astronomical. So I assume that you're challenging the bank not to charge any late fees or any, if you bounce the check fees or anything like that because of the consumer, because of conscience and the fact that you want them to do business without charging anybody any fees or.
No, sir, I don't think that's.
Because that's thousands of dollars.
If I were a lender and I could loan somebody $100 and 2 weeks from now they had to pay me $136, with the amount of people who are doing that, I would still be making money. So I don't think it's unreasonable to ask that we've done it for our military. Congress has said that anybody in the military can't be charged more than 36% interest.
So if you're a mother, I don't know if you're a mother, but if you're a mother, you got 6 kids, and you have no way to get the money back that week until paycheck this Friday, but you have to get their drugs at the drugstore. Do you want them to have any availability of cash? Because your organization won't set up some plan, because they said they could do that a few years ago when they testified. We can work that. You haven't worked that out, to the best of my knowledge, where you give people an opportunity to loan money to them at lower interest rates, even though the vast majority of them at that credit, not majority, but a large amount, will belly up and not pay you back because the organization haven't been able to figure a model that works to do it. So it's nice that you come testify against something, but I would challenge you, just like I did several times now, because I've been on this as chairman on the other side of the building for 2 years and before, is to not only recognize the problem, is try to solve it by your own means, trying to help and have the industry help you. It isn't going to happen. We've got a bill that we can try to help these people make sure that they don't have usury interest rates to it's reasonable. It's not a good. It would never be a good way to borrow money, ever. I would never have my kids recommend, but if I were a single mother and needed to buy some prescription for my kids before I get my paycheck on Friday or the government check or whatever, I'd want some availability instead of bouncing a check and having thousands of dollars in interest rate, or numerous other ways to go that I could illustrate to you are much, much, much higher. This is not a good product, but as the senator said, it's a necessary market. We just need to restrict it, and I think you've done a great balancing act between what needs to happen to protect the consumer versus what will, if you do something else that will kill the whole industry. And I applaud you for your acts. And I didn't mean to be confrontational, but this is not my first merry-go-round with your organization. They keep coming and telling me they want to do something. They recognize this problem, but I never see anything done. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Are there further questions?
You said that someone borrowed $300 and within a few weeks owed $1,000.
Within a few months, yes.
Okay, can you tell me how that happens? I mean, you say you're in the clergy, so I guess I want a play-by-play on that one.
Okay.
That'd be something I want to get into.
Absolutely. So $300 today. 75% of that in 2 weeks is what? $225. So 2 weeks from today, I owe $525 on the $300 that I didn't have 2 weeks ago, so I probably don't have it today. $525. I'm going to borrow it from somebody else.
Oh,
who's
you're
going
going
to
to
charge
misbehave.
me? Well,
You're
no,
going to
because right now it's not illegal for me to do that. But eventually, I'm not going to have any choice.
So it's not about personal responsibility. It's about someone like you coming in and telling them, here, you don't. How about telling them, look, don't do that.
I do tell them don't do that.
Well,
But when they're not going to have any electricity and they can't feed their children,
So you'd rather that they went without electricity than borrow the money?
no, ma'am. I would rather there be better options for them,
Okay.
so that if someone is loaning money, this is the equivalent of Loan Shark. So if they were to charge 36%, something that someone could reasonably get out of,
Does your
then that's
church have
okay.
people out of these situations?
Absolutely. I
So
pastor a church where 90% of my people are below the poverty line,
Okay.
and they're fighting this fight every single
So
day.
I can send people to you and you will pay their bills?
I don't even get paid as a pastor because
So you won't pay their bills and there's no way to pay. I'm sorely disappointed that you come here and complain about this. And you have no solutions. How about telling people you have to be responsible for what you do?
we do that.
And you just sit here and told me that they're gonna sign this, they're gonna sign that thing and say that they don't have any loans anywhere else. So you already have no confidence in your fellow man because you think they're going to lie.
I know that people in desperation, just like what was just said over here, people in desperation.
So if they didn't get the money, okay, they're desperate for money and they didn't get it, what would happen? Do you think they wouldn't commit suicide?
I think that some people will and some people will not.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Representative Smith.
To inquire.
Proceed.
All right, thank you. Excuse me, thank you. get the line of sight like to look at it. No, I completely understand your position and what you're saying, but like you, and I use my experience in the legislature.